So, hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a very well-known low-level design question, which is library management system. So, firstly, we are going to discuss about the requirements, and then we will talk about the different entities that we are going to have within a system, and in the end, we will just go through the code, which is written in Java. So these are the requirements uh, that we have. So the function requirements are like obviously we librarian should get an option to add a book and the copies, and then there should be a catalog section which would let librarians search books by title, author, or ISBN, which is nothing but a standard internet standard book number, which is kind of UUID assigned to a given book, and then option to issue a book to a member, and then option to return a book by a member, and then the track the availability of a book, whether it's available or is it issued, then calculate fine if the book is being written after the due date. And these are some assumption which is always good to discuss with interviewer. So one is, are we going to have multiple physical copies of the book, and do we have to have a cap, max cap, like the number of maximum books that could be issued by a member, and then this is something which is obvious. Only librarian can add or remove book, and no reservation notification for now. I think, yeah. So I think we need to make sure when we're discussing these things with interviewer, make sure you just don't overcomplicate the thing, because you need to keep in mind that interview is going to be only 45 minutes, I would say, because uh, like last maybe 15 minutes or few minutes you should keep for Q&A, where you can showcase your skills, like how you can improve an existing system and all those things, right? And then these are the non-functional requirement. Again, like you can make the system consistent by using thread logs and whatnot, right? So now let's jump into the entity section. Let's talk about the different entities that we're going to have within a system. So this is the UML diagram for the library management system. Now I'll start from top down, which is this is going to be my main class, which is library service, and this is going to be a singleton class, and then this class would contain map of book items, which mean like I should manage key value store, where key would be a unique identifier. So here in my case, I can use barcode as a unique identifier, and value is going to be the book item object. And then members loans. So loan is nothing but whenever a member issues a book, that is considered as a loan. So again, the it is again a map with a key as the loan ID, and value is the loan object. And then you have you have a catalog uh, object. So this catalog class is meant for search, to list the book objects based on different attributes like title, author, or ISBN. So that's the purpose of catalog. And let's talk about other entities like book item. So book item is nothing but it tells it contains it's a physical uh, I would say the representation of the book, which would contain the information about the book, and also like where it is being placed, like the rack number, and what is the current status, is it available or is it being issued or is it lost, right? And the barcode of that book. And book is nothing but your metadata. So this you need to understand like what is the difference between book and book item, right? And then you have loan. So loan is nothing but whenever a member issues a book, a loan object is being created, which has the information like what is a book item that has been issued, the member who has issued the book, and when was it issued, what is the due date, and what is the return date. And whenever user returns the book, at that time we would generate a fine object if the return date exceeds or it falls after the due date. So these are the basic entities, and then you have a user entity. So user, if we talk about the library management system, there are two users that are being involved. One is your member, the one who are going to issue the book and all, right? And the another one is your librarian. So here if you see, we have abstract class user, and it has these attributes which are common for member as well as librarian. But if we go inside these base classes, right, here we have some extra attributes and methods, and both have different methods. So if you can say in the member, get issued book count, like how many maximum books that can be issued by the member. But in case of librarian, we have added these option these methods like add book items, or remove book item, right? So that's why I think it makes sense to have an abstract class instead of using an interface. So this is the overall UML diagram. Then let's just quickly talk about the methods that we have. So in the library service, right, librarian should be able to issue a book where they should give the member ID and the barcode. And internally, we will do the checks like what is the book status, if it is available or not. If it is available, then only we should issue the book. And when we issue a book, we should create a loan object for that book and mark that book as issued. And then a return book, again, straightforward. We first need to check whether the loan object exists for that barcode, or for that book with book item with that barcode. And the member ID is same within that loan object which exists for that given barcode. And lastly, before marking it as return, we should check whether the fine is applicable or not. So how you can check? Just we need to check if the return date falls after the due date, then we will create a fine object and then store that value within the loan object. And then once the fine object is being collected, we will mark that as that book status is available. And maybe loan object we can remove from this member loan. And last is search book. The search book is nothing but it would give option to search for a book based on a given query, which could be like based on barcode, or I think it would make more sense to use the catalog object here. And then based on different attributes and based on different types, we can use the different method from the catalog. So that would be more uh, I mean that would be a better way, I would say. So now let's just quickly go through the code once. So this is the code which is written in Java. So I'll start again with from the top to bottom. So if you see, this is the library service, and it contains the book item, which is nothing but your key value store, where string is the barcode, and this value is your book items. And then you have members, which represent the list. Key as the member ID, and the value is your member object. And then you have loans, uh, which represent the issued books items. So whenever a book item is being issued, you create a loan. And then you have catalog object for search based on different based on different scenarios. And then you have option to book items, add members. So here, if you see, you have an option to, you have this method to issue a book, right? So here we're checking whether the member, obviously null checks, and then we check whether the book status that we're looking for it, if it is available or not. And if it is available, then we're just creating a loan, and the return date, we are adding 10 days. So basically, that is something which we have hard coded, because usually in libraries we see, right, the return dates are static. Like for every member, there is a static days, like within which you have to return the book. Or you can also create a static class where you can have all these static attributes, which is more clean. Then you have a return book option. Here, if you see, first you need to check whether the loan exists for that given member ID and barcode. If it does not exist, obviously it's a invalid. Uh, these are invalid parameters. If it exists, then you just need to check whether the fine object has to be created or not. Based on the scenario, if the return date falls after the due date, then you create a fine object and mark the status of that book object is available. And then you have these entities, one is book, which I think is very much clear. Simply it has the metadata with setters and getters, right? Then you have a book item, which basically contains the information about a given book, like what is the rack ID, rack number, what is the status of that book item, whether it's available, a loan or lost, right? And then you have catalog uh, class. This catalog class, again, the purpose is to kind of do filtering, to search for the books based on different attributes. And this is a fine object, again, a very simple uh, uh, record. And then you have different users. One is librarian, and then this is a member, right? So this is the basic code. I would highly recommend you to code it once by yourself using your desired language, which will help you understand it more. Just by going through the code might not be very helpful. So I'll highly recommend just do it, try to do it by yourself. Yeah. Thank you.